Natalia on Luxury with Natalia. I'm delighted to be joined today by Will. Will has been a participant of the Ocean 5, and they went and did something amazing earlier this year. Actually, it started earlier, the end of 2019 and ended 2020. Will, how are you today?
I'm really good. Thanks, Natalia. Thank you for having me.
Nice to see you, because last time I saw you in person was kind of before the preparation or even the project was launched, and we were having drinks in Amsterdam for the Super Yacht Forum.
Yeah, it was actually your fault that this whole thing kind of came about, because you invited me to the Young Professionals in Yachting event where I met Kevin, and fast forward 3 years and here we are.
Isn't that amazing? It feels like I'm part of this project in a sense then. So tell us a bit more, what is the Ocean 5 and what did you set out to do together?
So we are a 5-man team. We had the silly idea to row the Atlantic, take part in the Talisker Whiskey Atlantic rowing race, and it all came about. Met Kevin, and one of the things he said he wanted to do was row the Atlantic, and started talking to it with a couple of my friends. He started speaking to his son, and we just kind of we built this thing. We built this team. We decided, let's go for it. We all love the ocean. We decided to row to protect or to raise money to fight against issues of plastic in the ocean. And it became a 2-year journey. Rowed the Atlantic and ended up breaking the Guinness World Record for the fastest 5-man team to ever row the Atlantic.
Fantastic achievement, and I just love that photo of you guys with the flares and having achieved such a big feat. And I mean, physically it must have been quite impressive. A lot of training involved and a lot of mental motivation required, but of course you had Kevin there, who's a motivational speaker and quite a positive person. So how was that training journey for you personally, having already worked on board yachts? I mean, you have to be quite disciplined, but this was something different, right?
Yeah, I mean, my background, I've always been, since I was about 17, always been around the ocean. I was a kayak instructor, canoe instructor, windsurfing instructor, sailing. So I know about the sea. I've got very good seamanship skills, and so have two of the other guys, Sam and Chris, who are part of the row. So we had that side of things covered. And Kevin and Matt, that even though their seamanship skills weren't as strong as the other guys, in terms of like being able to steer the boat in close quarters and this kind of stuff, they both had done adventures. They'd both done the North Pole and the South Pole, so they understood how to follow orders. They understood how they would fit into where we were in terms of building the team. And Kev's got a book. It's called Inspired Leadership, and one thing that Kevin speaks about in his book is with every single one of his businesses, he does what's called a 1,000-day plan. So he breaks everything down to 1,000 days, and you have goals that you're going to achieve in this 1,000 days. And we just said the exact same thing. We had 2 years, we broke it down. Everybody got assigned a certain thing that they would be in charge of. So training or logistics or equipment for the boat, first aid, whatever it was to get us to that start line, sponsorship, etc., etc. And we just broke it down. This is what you've got to do. This is what each of us are doing. And if you can trust your team and you can trust your teammates to get it done, it all comes together. And we took the boat out there almost 14 days before the start, and we actually had a couple of days off.
Fantastic.
They recommended that you would have 2 weeks, and we ended up we took a couple of days off. We didn't have anything to do. We weren't stressed. We weren't rushed because we just had everything.
Wow. Goes to show that a good team and having that, what would you call it? That companionship as well, goes to show that anything is possible. I mean, working on a super yacht, you need to be that way already. But like you mentioned, there were 2 on the team who weren't necessarily in that discipline mode. But who was the captain then in that sense? Or how can you say? The one that steered the project on?
Well, this is what was interesting. Is we all played to our strengths. So we all met together. Obviously, because of Kev's experience running businesses, running these massive companies, he obviously knew how to project manage. So in the run-up and the build-up, we worked very closely with, Kev basically took a lot of that side of things, project managing, pushing things forward, making sure things happened to the deadlines they were supposed to happen. But then during the row, the leadership structure completely changed, because when you're actually at sea, it doesn't really matter who can project manage. What matters is who's the best person to get us to that finish line. So in terms of the day-to-day navigation, actually being the skipper, the captain of the boat, that was Chris. Chris has got his Chief Mate's 3000 ticket. He's been working on super yachts the same amount of time as I have. And we had a kind of sit down and a talk and a vote, as it were. And all of us agreed with Chris as the captain. I kind of became his first mate, and it worked. All of us, there was no real disagreements of who was going to lead at what point in time.
Fantastic. And so did you go out to achieve what you were out to do? How did you feel, the response was? Were people really enthusiastic about supporting the cause that you were going out to support? And generally, have things changed? What has changed?
I have a lot of respect now for people who do fundraising. It's hard. You're basically doing sales where one side of the equation is you're getting people to give you money, and the other side of the equation is they're getting goodwill. It's difficult. You're selling them buying into your cause, your mission, your adventure, really. And we did really well. We did a lot better than a lot of the other teams, purely because of I love doing sales. Absolutely love it, and just no issues with hitting up the phone, posting stuff on LinkedIn. And Kev's very similar, and we had a really good network within the lot of us as a team, and we just kept pushing. 2 years seems like a long time, but actually the majority of our sponsorship came in probably the last 8 months before we went. And we managed to raise, we raised over six figures. So we did well. And so we had a goal, which we set ourselves a goal to raise over six figures. We wanted to complete the race. We wanted to be the fastest, or we wanted to win our category, our group as the five man. And then we knew it was possible to break the world record, but we were obviously reasonable with ourselves, kind of knowing that if the weather was against us, if you had a week of headwinds, then the possibility of breaking the record, a lot of things have to come together. You have to have the right team, the right boat, the right weather conditions to be able to get. And you can't have anything go wrong. You can't have any failures or medical emergencies or anything like that. So we understood that there was the chance of not getting it, and about halfway across, it was looking unlikely that we were going to manage to break the world record. But we ended up the last 10 days, everything came together, the wind came together, and we just had this amazing run into Antigua.
Wow, gosh, and Antigua, what a place to end up as well. Like holiday now. So I'm just curious about the logistics of how it actually goes to play. Because how many days was it you were at sea? 30 something?
30, well, basically 36 days. So 35 days and 19 hours we were out there for.
Wow. And so when do you eat? When do you do your, bits and bobs? How does it work?
So you leave from the Canary Islands, from La Gomera, and you just start rowing. And the first day is a little bit kind of confused because everyone's excited about the row, and you've all crossed the start line and you wave goodbye to mum and dad. And then you start rowing, and the the usual rota is 2 on, 2 off. So you row for 2 hours, and then you have some food, have a snack, and then you rest for the remainder of the 2 hours, come back on and row for 2 hours.
Okay.
And that's it. Continuous. 24 hours a day, 7 days a week for 36 days straight. So the longest you sleep is about an hour and a half at any time. You get into I definitely got into a thing where I was probably getting about 5 hours sleep a day max. And you're rowing for 12 hours of that day. So it's the hardest thing is it's not actually sitting there and rowing for those 2 hours. It's when you fall asleep and then that alarm goes off and you know you've got 6 minutes or so to get up on deck and start rowing again. And your brain just goes, oh no, oh no. But you have to have that discipline to know it wasn't that somebody was doing it on purpose. It was just, it was so I think one occasion, one of the alarms didn't go off and you just kind of like, when you're sat there rowing and you get to the end of your 2 hours and the time's come out, you're checking your watch, the end of and so 10 minutes before you go and you wake the guys up, you're like, lads, it's your time on deck. Sit back down, you row. And I say, when that clock ticks over on that hour, like they better be there to sit into the seat, because otherwise those 30 seconds, you're like, come on.
Absolutely. And how far off were you guys on the world record? I mean, you made it, but who done it before, and how much time did you win on that?
We shaved about 20 hours off of the time.
Wow.
So we did it by quite well. But as I said, we were halfway across, we got hit by 36 hours of headwinds, that's probably those 30 to 36 hours, that's probably the hardest period of time of my life. When you're rowing and you row for 2 hours and you make half a mile or a mile, so you've rowed, and it's hard as well because the wind behind you, it pushes you, it speeds you up, the water feels lighter. Mm-hmm. When the wind's pushing on the bow, everything feels heavier, so the feeling through the shoulders, through the arms, through the back, it's just it really hurts. You've got to give it some for every single stroke. So those 2 hours are actually harder than 2 hours when you've got the wind behind you. And when you go down, so you row for 2 hours, then you go sleep for 2 hours, you come back up, and as a team, for over a 4 hour period, you've gone 2 miles. It's soul destroying.
Yeah, for sure.
So that's hard, and you've got to make that decision. So some teams put out the power anchor, so it's a big parachute-shaped anchor that stops the boat from being blown backwards. Some teams made the decision to put the power anchor out, and that slows your rate of drift, but still you're still going backwards by half a knot or a knot. We made the decision to just keep rowing into it, even though it's brutal, and you're only making a mile forward every hour or half a mile forward. At least you're not going back. And we came out of those 30 hours, 36 hours. I was like, I never want to do that again. Never want to do that again.
I'm sure. And that's my next question. Would you do this again?
If we hadn't have got everything from it, I would consider it. But we got everything from it. We broke a world record. We had an amazing time. We raised a significant amount of money. We were prepared. We enjoyed ourselves. We won our category, and we came fourth overall in the race. And none of us look back on it and feel like we left anything there. If I come out of it and I went, I didn't pull hard enough, or I wasn't prepared enough, I would feel that I'd have to go again to really to get over that. But there's nothing, not a thing.
So congratulations are in order, and I bet you slept for like a week afterwards.
Well, this is the thing, because you're so in that short sleep kind of thing. I was staying, the first night I stayed above Antigua Yacht Club, and I was up on the hill, and I didn't close the curtains. And I remember waking up, I could see the red lights on the top of the masts of the really, really high sailboats, and really seeing these red lights. And in my head, when I was kind of like semi-asleep, I was grabbing for the oars, because I was thinking that we weren't rowing fast enough to get past this sailing boat. And I'm grabbing for the oars, and I'm waking up, and I'm for about 3 or 4 days afterwards, I was, it was like that. It messes your head up a little bit, that sleep deprivation.
Did it feel like Tom Hanks in the film there, where he's alone on the island with the football? Castaway.
I phoned my brother at New Year's, either New Year's or Christmas. I spoke to my brother, and he was like, "Are you drunk?" I was like, "No, I'm stoned. Like, I haven't drank anything for like 2 weeks." And he goes, "You sound drunk."
Wow.
And it was just that, not so much slurring words, but just like in that kind of, sleep deprived, a bit kind of giggly, and he's like, "Mate, are you drunk?" I was like, "No, I'm not at all."
Wow, wonderful. So what's next for Ocean 5?
This is the big question, and if anyone's got any ideas, we'd love to hear them. So everyone's kind of gone back into their lives, their jobs. I've been back on the yacht for 7 months now, so getting back into the swing of things. But there's definitely, we've got to do something. I want to do something in the desert, but we'll see.
You'll have to link up with some of the luxury travel companies, because they do some extreme stuff, and see what comes out of it.
I'd love to do something else. I'd love to keep doing this kind of stuff. It was amazing, the feeling afterwards, when we turned up in Antigua and we let off those flares, and you pulled the boat alongside, and your friends and your family are there, and you're kind of like, wow. And it's so wobbly. I'd lost 10 kilos of weight. And you just feel, you don't really know how to feel or what to feel. It's weird. Like it takes you a good, I'd say probably 10 days to really just digest it all. And it's very overwhelming when you turn up there and everyone's there and everyone's looking at you. And for us it was amazing. Sam got down on one knee and proposed to his girlfriend, which is very cool. Everyone's family had flown out there. A couple of days later, Chris ended up proposing to his girlfriend Nina. So it was very cool. There was it's just one of those things that you spend those 36 days in, which very hard conditions, and then you turn up there and you turn up in this amazing place with all your friends and family, and you're like, actually, I could do this again. Not this, but I could do something similar.
I think you've got the travel bug. I mean, the adventure and breaking records bug, let's say. Can't wait to see more about this.
Yeah, I think another couple of Guinness World Records would be nice.
Yeah, there's Will, and I know him. Sounds good. Wow, thank you, Will, for your time, and well done, all of you, for all your achievements, and of course for raising awareness as well about the pollution in the oceans. And hopefully we'll get to meet soon. I know the Monaco Yacht Show is not happening this year, so we'll have to wait and see what brings us together again, and more adventures to talk about, right?
Definitely.
Cool. All right, everyone. This was another episode with Luxury with Natalia. Keep watching and liking and subscribing, of course, and more episodes coming real soon. Take care, everyone. Bye.